So teachers, we're going to log into DMAC and bring up your TEAC score, which is your locals assessments, and go into your reports. And we're going to select our campus. And you see that we've already selected our first test here, which is a CBA. I want to report on my item analysis and my SE performance. Yours is going to say print by class, and I'm going to view the report. So here we have item analysis. It tells you the percentage on each of your questions. And then to find your next report, just click to the next and you'll find your TEAC score performance, SE performance. You'll need to print both of these out to do your CBA intervention.
So in planning for intervention, I've printed off my reports. I'm now looking at my SE performance. I know that this is a readiness TEAC 7.3b, and this is a readiness TEAC as well. So if I look over at my student mastery, 38% mastered 7.3b, and 42% mastered 7.11b. Those do happen to be the lowest percentages, but if I kind of look at a related TEAC, add, subtract, multiply, and divide rational numbers, goes along with this one, but this one involves solving problems. So I actually could, on planning my intervention, plan to work on computation as well as use the computation to solve problems. And then I'll probably want to cover this TEAC, making sure they can determine if a value solves a two-step equation or an inequality. So these are the two TEACs that I can cover during intervention, and I think I'll bring this one in as well as computation. Okay, so we've identified two TEACs that we're going to cover during intervention. So I think I'm going to look at my item analysis and try and see what kind of errors my students made. So if you remember, one of my TEACs was 7.3b, so I want to look at questions over 7.3b. So I see question number 3, question number 12, question number 14, and question number 16. All of those were over that TEAC 7.3b. So now I'm going to look at my test, and I've written down what percent chose each answer. So what I think happened on number 3, the students narrowed it down by eliminating those two answers and didn't really finish their calculation. So I kind of think they guessed on those two. So we need to work on our computations. And then on question 12 was an open-ended, and only 31% of our students got that one. So I probably didn't include enough open-ended on my instruction. So on my intervention, I want to be sure and include open-ended. And I also want to make sure my students are familiar with how to use the gridable. So I want to cover that during my intervention. And then on number 14, more students chose the correct answer. Some of them chose one that was really close. So I think, again, it's the computation and all the different steps. But I also noticed that 8% of the students didn't answer that one. So we may talk about a lot of questions that have more than one step when we're doing our intervention. And then on my last one, I think these students guessed because 23% chose each one. And I think the hard part on this one was that it was one of those where they had to describe and justify. So thinking back on my instruction, I probably did not include enough of the verbal description. So on my intervention, I want to be sure I'm including the verbal on justifying their answer. So I think I have an idea now of what I want to do for intervention.
Okay, so now that we have identified what test questions and where our students were struggling, and we've identified our TEKs, now we want to find some good strategies, learning strategies that we can use for our intervention. So of course the first place I'm going is to the Lead Forward website, and once we get there, just as a reminder, we go to Resources. Once I click on Resources, I'm going to my Instructional Tools, where we can find the Instructional Strategy playlist. And I could use my phone as well, but we'll do it here on the computer. So now as we're working as a team, we want to look through the different types of playlists. And I think one of the first things as I'm looking at the classes is I want to just do some learning from our mistakes. And so there's a 3-2-1 test review. There's a lot of these. One that I've liked that I saw earlier is Get to the Point. So you can click on there, and here's the Careless Clueless. As I look to get to the point, it says evaluate the assessment items, select the 3 most difficult questions, and determine errors to avoid, words to remember, and how to start in the future. I think this might be a strategy as I'm reading through it that I can easily do, and I may do that on day 1 of my CBA's intervention so the kids can identify what problems they were struggling with, and then maybe later in that class period or the next day is when I will focus specifically on the 2 TEKs. So I'm going to do Get to the Point. And now I'm thinking as well, let me back out, what strategy I can use as I'm going through 7.3b. And so I actually want to look at the movement and discourse because I want them moving and learning because this is something that we've gone over. So I'm going to go through here. I don't know what a lot of these are. So let's try Shake and Share. Okay, this is share and compare, justify responses with a partner, teacher presents, I don't know about that one. Babbling Beans, take turns sharing ideas to solve a problem, answer a question, or complete a task. So I read through that one. I don't know about that one. Team 2-1, I like this one, movement and discourse. So the students are placed into groups of 4. Teacher poses a question, the group analyzes the question and applies what they have, and they answer it as a team. After I clarify and I verify it, then they're going to break into partners of 2, and they'll answer another question. Then after I clarify and verify that they've got it, then they're going to do it on their own. I kind of like that because with it being an open-ended question, I can just develop 3 or 4 open-ended questions, and after we've reviewed how to do it, and then I can really check and see if the kids understand that. So I think I'm going to use the Team 2-1. So now once we've done that, we can click this off, prepare all the materials, and then we're ready for day 1 and day 2 of CBA instruction.